Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our fourth AALAS webinar series. My name is Gorky Estrella, and I am the Technoplas sales rep for New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania area. I am joined today by my colleague Guido Gotardo, the product manager for DigiLabs.
Thanks, Gorky. So hello to everyone. Thanks to join this webinar today. I will be here, and at the end, I will support Gorky for the Q&A session. So I'll talk later. Thank you, Gorky.
Thank you, Guido. In today's session, we will demonstrate a 10-minute pre-recorded video on how a digital technology can improve an animal facility, and I will follow up with a presentation on return on investment and running costs. This webinar, just a reminder, is eligible for one CEU AALAS credit, and we will be recording this and we will email it to you and everyone in attendance. We will also monitor the Q&A and chat section, so feel free to write any questions during the presentation, and we will answer it at the end of the presentation. So now I would like to share with you the video, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. In this video, we would like to share how technology can improve the process to an animal facility through digital monitoring of animal cages. You will experience what a day in a digital facility between a manager and an animal caretaker is like. In the morning, the facility manager will check their emails with a full list of tasks generated by the DVC system. Once the manager logs into the DVC system, they can check the full list of tasks the system has automatically generated and assigned to each animal caretaker. Here, the manager can see 284 tasks were generated and can review how many cages are scheduled per room throughout the facility. At this point, the manager can eventually assign or distribute an even task assignment to assure each animal caretaker has an even workload for the day. Once the manager distributes the task, the animal caretakers will receive the list of tasks on their cell phone, a tablet, or a computer. Once the animal caretaker receives the daily work assignments, they are able to set up all their supplies needed to complete their tasks for the day. Streamlining this information is key, as it gives staff members a full picture of what their workflow will be for the day. So once the animal caretaker gowns up, they can now go directly to clean side area to gather their supplies. For this particular task, the animal caretaker will only have to change a few cages instead of a full rack. This approach allows the animal caretaker to enter the room with the supplies needed to complete their assigned task. This also reduces the foot traffic, allowing the animal caretaker to just focus all their time and attention to the task in hand. So once in the room, they sign in to the system, and the LCT turns on the readers and places them in the top holder. This allows the system to read or follow the cages when extracted from the rack. Once this initial setup is done, they proceed to identify or choose which rack they will start their task. The animal caretaker confirms the rack by turning on the lights as demonstrated here. They can use the LED lights to identify where the cages are located. This especially if the animal caretaker is working in a big room. These LED lights notification can confirm which rack they have chosen. Now the animal caretaker is performing their daily check. The DVC system will not replace the traditional physical daily case check, but it allows you to collect 24/7 data for each cage, something we do not have in today's day-to-day operation. Typically, once we leave for the day, we do not have any further information regarding these cages until we return the next day and physically look within each cage. So once the visual cage check is completed, the ACT will turn on the LED lights and highlight the cages that were underlined with anomaly tasks also called in the DVC system as night warfare check. And thanks to the data collected at night, we can generate a report. Here you can see how the system detected cage 56 with a sudden hyperactivity motion expressing a huge spike in the graph, like fighting. In this case, since the animal caretaker did not find any visual signs of illness, one can assume it was caused due to increase of activity. For this particular cage, the system detected a hypoactivity, and as you can see in this graph, there was a big drop in activity for the last couple of days. Therefore, the animal caretaker moved the cage to the changing station to take a closer look at this cage. Once the filter top is placed on the top holder, the system will automatically detect that the animal caretaker has opened the cage and is now showing that the cage is registered, showing all the history for this cage. Now the animal caretaker can make a better assessment of the condition of the mice within this cage with a simple touch inspection one by one. Once the animal caretaker determines the findings, they can document this information in the system by clicking a sign of sickness. In this case, due to the activity and condition of the animal caretaker has chosen paralysis. Once this information is registered in the system, all the users set up in the system, like the vet, will receive an alert called Animal in Trouble for this cage. So now, the animal caretaker has a task to change the dirty bedding recognized by the system. During the initial setup of the DVC system, there is a learning phase of the bedding condition. And thanks to the boards under each cage, we can recognize how much moisture has built up within each cage. Following the procedures demonstrated in this video, the user doesn't need to add information to the system and can continue working to change all the assigned cages until the task is terminated. The system does not only alert the user when it recognizes the dirty cage criteria, but the system can also alert the user based on time criteria. This allows you to set the system to alert you either weekly, bi-weekly, by experiment, or by cage owner, to what we call a custom changing protocol. So once all the cages have been changed, all the tasks for the bedding cage change in the DVC system appears as completed. The system will also update the real-time status of each task assigned, and in the event the animal caretaker cannot complete the task, they can document this information in the system, and the manager can either schedule another animal caretaker to complete this task or assign this task to be completed on the following day. So before leaving the room, the animal caretaker now proceeds to check all the active alarm reported in the system, simply underlining the LED light of all the cages with alarms for flooded cage, missing bottle, and low food. Once they confirm the LED lights are on, they can proceed to the rack to locate the cage and alarm as missing bottle. Thanks to the DVC system detection, they were able to find a cage where the bottle was placed backwards, sending the system into alarm. And in the following cage, the animal caretaker is able to see that the water bottle was missing and added a bottle. Once the bottles were added, the system will automatically clear the alarm. In this following cage, the cage went into alarm for low food. In this specific cage, the ACT will replenish the food and place the cage back in the rack. Once the cage is placed back in the rack, the system will recognize that food was replenished, same as the missing bottle alarm. The system will clear the alarm for this cage as well. Thanks to the sensors for the food and water, which are like extra set of eyes within each animal room, the animal caretaker was able to easily detect these cage conditions within each room, and thanks to the DVC system, increasing the animal well-being. Here, the facility manager can virtually check the system to get a real-time information on how many tasks have been completed or how many tasks are still pending. This is also very helpful, especially now where most managers are working with a hybrid schedule and at times working from home due to COVID. This system is also helpful in the event of an emergency where the manager can have access to the system at his fingertips from any remote location. So here you will see the vet gowning up after receiving a sick report in the system generated by the animal caretaker. The report was generated during the daily case check with the support of the night welfare checks. Once he enters the room, he can check the system to highlight the slot with the reported sick cage. This allows him to locate the cage where he can now extract the cage to evaluate the animal. He will bring this cage to the cage change station to better evaluate the animal condition. So now you will see here when the vet places the filter top on the top holder, the system will recognize the cage working directly with the interface where he can see that this animal was diagnosed with paralysis in the morning by the animal caretaker. At this point, he can confirm the report and decide what kind of treatment will need to be assigned and can document this information where the staff can see the history of the treatment for this particular cage and animal.
I hope everyone enjoyed the video and by now has a better picture or idea of the benefits a digital system can bring to your facility. As a previous manager and being in the industry now for 20 years, I have a great appreciation for where our industry is heading. And with all the technology that surrounds us today, we should take advantage of this to better serve these animals, but also give our animal caretakers the tools to better perform their daily tasks. However, the return on investment is always our challenge when making these decisions. But it is evidence from this video that by using a digital system, your operations can run your facility more effectively, provide a better data, streamline your operation, and minimize wasteful spending. But at the same time, create a more ergonomic environment for your staff and the well-being of the animal. So with that being said, I would like to explore the important topic of return on investment and running costs for your digital facility. So in order to calculate the return on investment, we basically need to identify what the benefits are and give them a true value. It is not easy to give a value to all the benefits this digital product has to offer to your day-to-day operation, but that's why I broke this down into two categories. And one is tangible, and the second one is intangible. Tangible is the one in which is easy to calculate. But the intangible benefit, on the other hand, provides us with a gray area where we are not able to easily identify the real return on investment. So we have to have a good evaluation of this gray area to allow us to justify the decision that this digital system needs to, in order to streamline the operation, as it makes the workday significantly easier. So these 4 points on this slide were described during the video, and they are the daily task organization, vetting management advantages, 100% census for billing purposes, and how to find a case cost. But I've added an additional tangible benefit that was not clear during the video, but I will go over it through this presentation. This is to increase the facility occupancy level within a digital facility. So the daily task organization, most of us are probably communicating the task with your staff either via email, a text, or a board similar to the one here on this slide. But knowing in advance through the digital system how many cages are needed this can optimize the time of each animal caretaker. This also can allow them to know exactly what supplies are needed to complete the daily tasks before they even arrive to work. So this prevents less movement from animal room to cage wash area, and from having to get additional supplies, them knowing what supplies are needed before they start the task. But this can save a lot of time to the animal caretaker because it streamlines the communication with the supervisor, the manager, and the researchers, where they can kind of notify everyone when the task is completed. This approach can also save each animal caretaker an hour per week by knowing in advance what they need for their task to complete their task. So the bedding management is the means by which we calculate the return on investment. So thanks to the DVC boards under each cage, we can detect a real level of moisture within the cage, and the system is able to provide a list of cages that need to be changed, which is in the DVC system is called an everyday task. This everyday task is basically what we call in our industry a spot checking of a room. So this digital system is consistently evaluating the bedding conditions for the cages and tasking your staff what cages are needed or what cages are soiled. This helps your program to standardize the spot checking of your cage of your cage change to all the animal caretakers and save them a significant amount of time by locating these soiled cages. So why is this so advantageous? Because it allows us to, one, use less bedding because we are performing less case changeouts, less bedding disposed, less chemicals because you are now processing less cages. And also it due to less autoclaving as well, it helps you save in energy. This also helps reduce the food within the cage wash area when they're dumping, or in the animal room when they're dumping the cages during cage changeouts. But now let's see what all this really means in material. So here in a facility in Prague, this particular facility had 5,600 DVC cages. This facility was already established with an SOP of changing their cages bi-weekly. And thanks to our digital system, they were able to reduce their bedding cage change out by 40% in 1 year, prolonging the cage change out past the 14 days. With the data this system provides, you can now justify how a cage with 1 or 2 animals can be changed at day 25 due to the measurement of moisture within a cage that this system provides. This 40% cage reduction was for a facility that was already established with a bi-weekly cage changeout. Now imagine what the cage reduction percentage can be for a facility that is still changing their IVCs on a weekly basis. Yeah, I know this sounds a bit crazy to some of you that are already established on the bi-weekly changeout, but for some institution with all IVCs, they are still changing these cages on a weekly basis. And when they tried changing this process, their PIs were very reluctant to do so and require data that unfortunately they didn't have at the time. So with a digital system similar to this one, you can have an accurate information of bedding cage condition at day 14, 21, or 25, depending on the amount of animals you have within a cage. But this you can share, once you have that hard data, you can then share that with your PI, and this can help those programs that are struggling to convert their program to a bi-weekly, from weekly to a bi-weekly. The facility in Prague was also changing 160,000 cages bi-weekly and reduced it to around 95 cages by using this digital system. This means they were able to save 65,000 cages per year, allowing them to financially save 13 tons of bedding material. And they also save in labor by not having to dispose of this bedding. And they were able to save running costs of their autoclave for about 370 cycles, not to mention the time and effort saved to all the cage wash staffers. So let's see now what this involved on the cage changeouts task. So in this particular slide here, this is from the clean side that we documented all the tasks listed. As you can see in this slide, the time it took for each task, the number of cages involved, and the time it took to process every single cage that were handled in the clean side area. And at the end, we counted 75 seconds per cage in just the clean side area. We did the same evaluation here in the dirty side area. And what we saw here was a 35-second of a cage management with a different task. And as you can see on this slide, there is a lot of repetitive tasks the cage watch staff performs on a daily basis. So however, this timing only reflects the layout of this particular facility in Prague. So ultimately, each cage managed by the animal caretaker in this facility between the clean side and the dirty side took about 110 seconds. And what that means is that the savings for 1 year is 54 days in the cage wash area and 170 days in the animal holding rooms for a total of 224 working days in 1 year. The animal caretaker saves at least 1 hour per day, including the time saved in the dirty side area. From the calculations done in this specific facility, we were able to find a savings of around 1 hour per day per operator, plus all the material and utilities you saw in the earlier slides. This is really a big cost saving for this particular facility. So another benefit the system brings is the sensors. Here, the system can detect 100% accuracy for all the cages that are within these digital racks. We can count all the cages, identify the cages by protocol, researchers, or we can even automatically create a report of the usage of registered cages and registered animals of each facility per protocol, researchers, or individual racks. You can directly count all cages without having to ask your staff to basically physically go into the room, but more importantly, you have access to a real-time sensors to know all the exact location and status of each cage from your desktop. Here, the impact in terms of time saved is reduced, but the accuracy and the real time that this brings is an additional value that a manual scan cannot provide. So this accurate sensors is not only a matter of just sensors to calculate your per diem, but it can also you can use this system to track all the cages by bedding cage change out, low water, flooded cage, and other activities done within these cages. You can see a real time of a cage removal or when a cage is placed back in the rack from your desktop. If the animal caretaker finds a sick animal, they can input this information in the system and notify a vet where they can easily track this cage, saving time and giving the vet a real-time notification of each sick animal found during the daily cage check. As discussed in the video, here we can also add an enriched logbook. With this history for each cage, this has a big value because it is saving time for the operator as he doesn't need to provide any further information, whether it's in paper, spreadsheet, or any additional software that you might have in your program to notify the vet. But most importantly, address the sick animal as soon as possible in hope that the vet can get to them and these animals can have a quick recovery. This system helps you and your staff to digitally streamline this information to give everyone in your program a real-time notification for a sick animal. So from our experience, we see that most facility occupancy levels are from anywhere from, let's say 60 to 80%. Here you will see where the system has a basic knowledge of the occupancy in each room, and it is telling you how much space you have available in each room. This is key, especially in a facility where space is limited and the program might be heavily recruiting and you need to know specific amount of space that you have in the facility. You can do that in a very short time just by going through this process. In addition, this system also has the capability to add, to basically add the starting time and the end time of a research project. Clearly, that's if they share that information with you, but to where you can forecast when space will be available within an individual room or rack. This allows you to better manage space within your facility. And with this information provided by the system, you can increase the occupancy level of your facility from anywhere from 5 to 10%, this allowing you to generate more per diem to justify part of this initial investment for the system. Most of the information you are adding into our animal management system can be exchanged with the DVC system without doubling the information that has already been added by your animal management system. There are some animal management systems that are also managing all the DVC tasks and all the DVC alarm. So depending on the type of integration you are currently using, you can manage the full DVC system just by using your own animal management system. And here, if you don't have any source here in this slide, you can see where some example of third-party softwares that we have worked with. So how often, I love this question, because how often are you asked by researchers if you can find a particular cage? I know as a manager, this was a question that I honestly did not want to hear, especially after my staff was gone for the day, because of how time consuming this task can be, especially if you have to physically go into a room and locate this cage. For instance, if there's a room with 500 cages and you're going in there just with a cage car number, having to go in there and look at each cage car number, believe me, I've been there. It takes such a long time. And here, with this DVC system, you are able to save time by locating the cage in question from a remote area, which is great. To me, I would have greatly appreciated this product, because all I would have to do was just go into the system, type in the cage car number, identify the cage, click on a LED light associated with this cage. The cage slot will light up where the cage is located, and this would allow the researcher or the animal caretaker to locate this cage as soon as they walk into the room, because they will see the one rack just with a lit up light cage slot. So thanks to this feature, you will be able to save time and provide the researchers with a real-time cage location, which probably could have been handled just with an email, and they didn't have to go in there to the facility to come and contact you directly. So what are the intangible benefits? For sure, we can improve the animal caretaker's welfare by reducing the daily repetitive tasks, but mainly making the cage wash more ergonomic, and we can provide additional value to the animal caretaker during their daily cage checks. Thanks to the night welfare check, they can perform their daily checks more efficiently and can dedicate more time to the animal welfare, which is an important value for animals and research outcome. The value behind the augmented animal welfare and the additional data for better research outcomes listed here is very, very valuable for animal facilities to be able to streamline this information within their facility operation. So improving the operator's welfare with less cage changeouts is something that will increase the ergonomic while also decreasing allergen exposure. And this is key because this actually helps prolong the careers of these animal caretakers in this field, and it's very important that this digital system can provide that and help you assess that to help these guys out through the long haul. But what dollar value you can put to this during your return of investment? Thanks to the DVC system, we can actively monitor the cage conditions for an augmented animal welfare check. The night welfare check system can underline some cages that are displaying different patterns, activities, or displaying just a reduction in activity or an increase in activity. That also does the flood detection as well as the food, water, and bedding condition analysis, which this allows the welfare of the animals to be optimal, as there will be an increase of awareness in the program to any abnormalities within these cages. And having this 24/7 monitoring of these cages is extremely important for all the animal welfare. So what is the value one can put when improving how to better identify a sick animal, or save an animal's life just from a flooded cage that the system can recognize, or a cage with no food or lack of water that could potentially, whether if a technician gets sidetracked or turns when he goes back, he can miss a bottle. We are human and we can make mistakes, and having this set of eyes within the room is really, really key. And this is where I say just giving the animal caretakers that tool to succeed at what they do. So this, I think, is a great value for any facility. So the additional data provided by the DVC increases the quality of research being conducted beyond the benefit it brings the facility staff managers and directors. We must also look at the direct benefit that this digital system provides each researcher. So now that the digital technology is well recognized by the research community, we have 13 peer-reviewed papers with additional papers in the process of being published, webinars, a few white papers, and other scientific testimonials. Having a digital system can promote better recruiting as well for new PIs. And from a facility managed point of view, this can help you generate additional revenue by increasing the occupancy level within your facility, but also the per diem per cage due to the data you're collecting to support the researchers. So with this approach, a program could definitely reduce the initial return of investment. So in addition, if the facility makes an initial investment for this digital system, I believe that the PI researchers per diem should increase for this service. This equipment provides data that will support the researcher's outcome. So the user can now use the DVC data and only pay the cages and the days they want to analyze to collect that 24/7 data for their research. But this is another method to generate a new cash flow or improve the facility designs with the latest digital technology. So considering only that the tangible benefit described in this presentation, here is a simulation done for a facility in the Netherlands. So 6,000 cages, mainly for breeding, were used for this project. And from this graph, you can see the expected return of investment is a little over 2 years. This return of investment is calculated between from a standard IVC versus a DVC technology. Here is a breakdown where almost all the benefits that we discussed earlier have been estimated for this specific new project, with an estimated year saving of about 480,000 euros, which is roughly about 572,000 US dollars. And with this metric chart, we can customize it to tailor any facility or future projects where we can help you calculate the time it will take for your return on investment for a product like this. So main takeaways, why digital technology? Streamlining your facility with less paper trail. We are streamlining animal care operations electronically, both quickly and efficiently, and less supplies are being used on the cage maintenance, but also the staff efficacy is increased. This goes back to the ergonomic due to less cage going through cage wash. Therefore, less physical manual labor for your staff and less allergen exposure. Increased animal welfare. Live cage management also allows the staff to be notified when a cage is not in optimal condition, as well as when an animal is sick, plus the automatic cage condition check that gives us that second set of eyes that the animal caretaker can benefit from, allowing us to continue to have healthier animals due to the system helps the research outcomes, because a healthier animal is a better research. And then finally, a real-time live data. There's a true real-time available of space to support research
as well as the opportunity to map out future and current projects. So here I will turn my camera on now.
Now, what we would like is a minute of your time to run a poll to hear your opinion. So if the return on investment is less than 3 to 4 years, would this help you to consider a digital system? So please cast your vote now, and we will come back in a minute. Thank you for your time. So now we have a testimonial from Nicholas Parnell, the operations manager from Georgia Tech.
Back on.
The following statement is not a personal opinion, and it is not an endorsement or recommendation of any specific product, including but not limited to Technoplast DVC.
Hi, I'm Nick Parnell. As an operations manager at Georgia Tech, technology of digital cage monitoring is very interesting. Remote monitoring of cage conditions has been a goal in animal husbandry for a very long time. Understanding food levels, water availability, and the dampness in a rodent cage is essential to providing a proper environment, effective and efficient care. On top of this, being alerted to extreme conditions of a flooded cage or a lack of available hydration adds an extra measure of safety for the animal residents. Secondary to these attributes, there's a possibility for significant cost savings in terms of cage changes and personnel effort, as well as intrinsic inventory and cage space use measurements. You can imagine an extension of this data whereby a manager could deploy personnel in a much more efficient and effective manner based on feedback from the system in terms of how dirty a cage is, what level of animal activity is measured in each cage. This in turn could be linked directly to a more focused health check and better case management.
So thank you very much. So now we will check, Guido and I will check the Q&A questions with also Victoria's assistance. So Victoria will read out the questions and we will answer as they came in today.
Thanks, Gorky. The first question came in from Michael. Can the system automatically manage the workload between the operators? If needed, is it possible to change the task assignment?
Yes, so the DVC offers a planner, and that's what it's designed in all the tasks to the animal caretaker. Just like the video, the manager will if the animal caretaker cannot complete it, the manager will then assign that task to another animal caretaker, or maybe assign that task for a later time, or maybe the following day, depending on the task.
The next question is from Ashley. I have the animal management system tick at lab and can see some overlapping. Is it possible to integrate both systems?
So yes, actually. So the two systems can work together, and honestly, for us, is the best scenario because we think that today that we are living in the data era. We think that we needed to exchange the data between different software. So for this reason, all our data can be exchanged with other software, so with the animal management system. And I think that with the Ticket Lab, because we are integrated with them, we can enhance also our data. So yeah, as stated by Gorky during the presentation, we have plenty of software that are already integrated with us. Some with basic feature, other with more feature, but for us this is the future. So we want to exchange data with other software.
The following question is from Emily. From the presentation, you show all the time saved by using the system. Is it enough to reduce daily staff?
Hi, Emily, good question. So no, not at all. The time saved that we present here is basically processed like the lean analyst, where we try to reduce the low value activity to free the animal caretaker to complete other tasks, assignments such as better welfare or assisting a PI or complete other tasks with higher value within your facility.
Josh asked, is the system able to manage other tasks?
Josh, yes. At the moment, the system can manage The standard activity like the case change, daily check, the night warfare check also assists with the activities where there's a high activity or low activity, kind of similar to what you saw on the video.
We have another question from Taylor. What is required to keep this software up and running? Do we need to have staff in place to keep it maintained?
No, Taylor. So you don't need to have any dedicated IT staff for the DVC project. So the system is coming with a platform, a monitoring platform 24/7 that is able to collect all the data and give us a real-time alarm for preventive maintenance. Moreover, we have a local engineer in US that can act directly without any delay directly to your installation, and sometimes, most of the times, we can fix the issue if there are any issue with the network or with the software before you notice the possible issue. Regarding the software, usually we release one major release, software release with new features per year, plus other two minor software release with bug fixing if there are a bug, and some small feature that require a small development on with our technical office.
I think that is the last question.
All right, so I want to thank you once again for joining us. Our next webinar is on Zebrafish Lab 2021.
Sorry, Gorky, there is one question as well.
Sorry.
How long does the system handle for cages that may have been deactivated and deal with active cages that are no longer in the room due to them not being deactivated?
So, Amy, you need to tell to the system which cages you are using. So you need to register. I mean, this phase is very easy if you are using an animal management system, but if you are not using, you can add manually the information. At the same time, when you finish to use the cage for the experiment, for the breeding, for the stock, whatever, you need to tell to the system that that cage is not longer that you're not using not anymore the cage. You can do with several steps. Is a very easy and fast task, and so the system is not taking care about that cage. So I really hope that I give you the answer.
Give a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, thank you for joining us. So the next webinar is on Zebrafish Lab 2021 and beyond. That will be on December 8th at 2 p.m. Our invited speaker is Marcus Krim from IDEX, and our own Technoplast product specialist, Lance Squire. So thank you once again, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy and enjoy the upcoming holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.